This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Wingfield Properties, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Trinity Temple Assembly of God, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone CPA, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Group, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Ludwig's Bakery, the law offices of Gina White, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Scott Bird DDS, Sexton Law Firm, Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Chicken Express, Pediatrics Plus, and Providence Veterinary Care. The host of Inside Badger Football is Cooper Darr.
Welcome back to Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. How are you today, coach?
Doing great today.
Yes, sir. Well, once again, another dominant week of football. It was a fun one this past week to get to watch and all the stuff. So Let's talk about the Genoa Central game just a little bit. Coach, your defense held them to negative 15 yards in the first half. Obviously, that's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I've been saying it for weeks, just consistency, right? Just attacking the field, attacking practice throughout the week, attacking the start of the game. The same way, doesn't matter who our opponent is, and that's what you saw Friday. We went out there, played the game the way that we should play it. We feel like we should play it the way we're coached to play it. Our guys did a really good job of executing and bringing the intensity, the fire, played in front of a home crowd. So, that's always going to spark us. But just went out there and got it done the way it should be done.
That's right. Let's move over to the offensive side just a little bit. And I know one of your defense players had a scoop and score as well. But on the offense, 4 different players scored 2 touchdowns each. Obviously, we talk about the depth of the Badgers and all your different weapons, and having 4 different players score is a huge deal.
It is, and that aligns with our philosophy offensively with how we spread the football around. We want to be 50-50 run pass, just be able to attack defenses multiple ways. We want to be able to attack you vertical, we want to attack you lateral. We want to be able to run the football effectively. So it just aligns with our whole philosophy offensively. We're executing at a high level right now.
I love it. Also, your special teams, obviously Molinari, he just can't miss. But
right.
He's having a great season.
Yeah.
Deep snapper, all starts at the snap, the hold, and the kick. Kind of give those guys a shout out.
Yeah, Seth, he's still perfect. I know we're knocking on wood, but still perfect with all of his kicks, whether it's a field goal or a PAT. He's had a lot of opportunities at those, and then following that, he's had a lot of kickoffs, and so he's doing a really good job with his kickoff placement, and that's so crucial going into just our cover down unit. I thought we did a really good job of our cover down also throughout the game. I think we were able to tackle the returner inside the 20 every time that we did. So just all of it, the special teams, we take special teams very serious at Arkadelphia. Ben Chandler, he's our linebackers coach, but he's also our special teams coordinator, does a really good job of getting our guys prepared, having a really good scheme going into each week against the opponent, and our guys do a really good job of executing. Coach Chandler does a great job getting them ready.
Yeah, all 3 phases of the game. We've said it week to week, just the execution is there. Obviously, playing for a big one this next week.
Yeah.
We'll get there later, and playoffs after that. Yeah. But I want to go ahead and let's look at the Genoa Central highlights right here. We have about 12 minutes of highlights. So we have the run out, as always, and we got the flames kind of going up into the air, and I love it.
We got the cold spark machines going.
So playing Genoa Central, what was kind of y'all's game plan going into the game and how y'all dominated accordingly?
Yeah, the biggest thing was, I keep saying it, consistency. Go play to the level that we're supposed to play. Don't beat ourselves. Play disciplined football, and overall, I thought we did a really good job of that. Our defense has been consistent. Friday night's the same way. Our D-line is getting to the right spots. Our linebackers are fitting things behind it really, really well, and that's what you see. Just like we saw in the film, it's tough to get anything going against our defense. And then our offense behind is playing complementary football off of it, taking advantage of really good field position. That was a good, really good run by Kyle Reed. Executed really well up front in the run scheme, the run blocking assignments by the O-line. It's just executing at a high level right now, and that's why we're able to do what we do.
That's right. You definitely executing at a high level because your defense once again held Genoa Central to negative 15 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's very hard to do. Your coaches prepared them very well. And to talk about your coaches a little bit, defensive coordinator, Coach Kaiser, 100th win as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Coach Kaiser, in my opinion, one of the best defense coordinators in all of Arkansas. Just always has a great game plan going in. There's a lot of things that go into putting a defense together to be prepared for whatever offense we're playing that week, but he's one of the best that does it, in my opinion. His 100th win on the night, 100th career win as a defensive coordinator is something that's pretty special. It's what we do is all about the kids, but from a coaching standpoint, there are certain things that certain milestones that we like to have, and he's able to hit that. He's won multiple state championships as a defense coordinator, and so Coach Kaiser's, one of the best that does it, in my opinion. And that's just an overall program and team victory also, having a defense coordinator that gets 100 wins. He's done that at multiple spots, but the majority of that is at Arkadelphia.
That's awesome. Well, the offensive side, as we see right here, I'm pretty sure this is Orion, if I can see that right, Orion or Jay. But obviously you had 4 different guys score 2 different touchdowns, kind of sitting in your meeting room on Saturday, Sunday, getting ready for Genoa Central the week prior. What's kind of like your thought process of getting ready for a football game like this?
Yeah, the biggest thing is to make sure we're prepared. Do not feed into an opponent's, record. Just the biggest thing is making sure that we are the best team that we can be Friday night. And that was the whole emphasis going into the week. That was how we attacked every practice, and we had a really good week of practice. I thought our guys really competed really well, and that's what we wanted. It's been the past few weeks we haven't had a whole lot of really just plays on a Friday night. It's been smooth. I'm not going to say it's easy because nothing's easy in the game of football. Wins are hard to get, but our guys are executing at a really high level, and it's been a smooth night for them overall. There's not been a lot of adversity, so we win a lot, good on good offense against defense a lot throughout the week. Last week, this time of year, we kind of scale that back because we've already played this is the 9th football game, and typically we've already had that. But things have been so smooth for us, and our first groups haven't got just too many reps on Friday night, so we felt like we needed to have some more good on good action during the practice, and it was good competition. There was a day or two where the defense is probably winning the majority of the time, and then there was a day or two where the offense is winning the majority of the time. And on a good football team, that's what you get. It's not going to be one-sided every time.
That's right. Let's talk about your defensive line a little bit right here. We've seen them be dominant all season long. Nike Easton Wimberly, Eggs, Xavier, all the guys. Kind of point out your Skylar McClure, all the guys.
Yeah, I mean they're the defensive front kind of makes it all go right now. We're dominating the line of scrimmage. We're able to be really disruptive in the pass game, really put some pressure on the quarterbacks to get the ball in their hands, and just throwing off timing of opposing quarterbacks and just the timing of the offense. And so everything else behind it kind of plays off of that, and it's really good football for us right now.
I got to go down to the field for pregame. I think it was the first time I did that, and just the intensity that y'all have in your pregame, just getting ready for the game. Your offensive line, I got to kind of watch, and they're a fun bunch. They like to have fun, but also they take it very, very serious.
They do, and they're smart kids, and they kind of understand situations really well, and they've got really good personalities up there on the front line, but they know how to get after it, and they're a tough group. They're big, tough kids, and again, they're dominating the line of scrimmage as well. And we're able to run the ball really well. I think we averaged over 7 yards a carry, I think, and so that's impressive. Whenever you can do that, you're going to win a lot of football games if you can run the football for 7 yards a carry.
That's right.
And then you've got the explosive plays in the pass game as well to kind of follow it up.
The explosive games, or the explosive plays in the pass game, I want to talk about here a little bit harder. Obviously, I know I've said it, four different players scoring 2 different touchdowns. Kyle, you have Jay, you got all the different guys. Talk about how huge that is for a program.
It is, and it just helps our offense be dynamic. We just don't single in on 1 or 2 players to get the ball to 75% of the time. We're attacking defensive alignment. We're not really force feeding certain players just to force feed them. Now we can do that if we need to. We've had to do that in the past before, but if we feel like we can attack defensive alignment, then that's how we do it. We've got good enough players where we can do that. We feel like especially in our starting group, any one of our skill players, if they touch the ball, they can make something happen with it. And that's, while we're able to be as explosive we are and do what we do and put up a lot of points, on top of playing with short field position a lot of time because our defense is so good. And then our special teams is really, really good also. So the field position kind of plays a factor into that. Our offense has not really had to drive the whole field very many times this season, especially the conference season. And so there's a lot of things that factor into it. We're playing really good complementary football right now, just all 3 phases working together in alignment.
We just saw a scoop and score on the defensive side, which whenever you can even get the ball back on defense, but not only get a touchdown as well, is very big for games like this, but also in the future for the playoffs to come.
Absolutely, and I think that's about 4 weeks in a row that our defense has been able to score, or we've scored off a special teams situation. We're scoring a lot of different ways, and that just comes down to the execution, and then on top of the execution, just the playmaking ability of our players. We've got good players, we've got good coaches, and when you put it together, that's kind of what happens. And so it's really fun to watch. But when the defense is able to score, man, it's hard to get that momentum back from an opposing offense or opposing team. The defense creating a turnover and putting points on the board is tough to come back from.
Let's talk about Jay a little bit, as we just saw a huge run right there. I know we've mentioned his name all year long, but obviously he is still dominating game to game, Genoa Central, Ashdown, all the different games.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does this next week versus Malvern.
Yep.
But kind of just, what are you going to be looking for in this film getting ready for Malvern this next week?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just continue to stay consistent with what we do. Talking about consistency, Bryson McCoy, our quarterback, our sophomore quarterback, has only thrown, I think, 6 incompletions in the past 4 weeks. And so that's pretty efficient. Wow. We're talking about Jay. Jay's one of the main targets in the past few weeks, put up a lot of big numbers. But it's just the whole offense that kind of feeds into that, right? Like the offensive line has got to give McCoy time to be able to get the ball out right. The receivers have to get to their spots. They have to be on time. The ball's got to get out on time. And then the catch has to be made. And so there's a lot of things that go into that. But it's an impressive number for sure. But Jay, has rattled off almost, he was close to 100 yards this week. If he'd have been able to play for longer, he probably would have for sure. But, he just didn't get to play the whole game. And so he's putting up big numbers for the amount of time that he's playing.
Yeah, whenever you can put up that amount of numbers really in 2 quarters of football, that is very, very impressive. So, let's talk more about special teams just a little bit more, and then we'll kind of look at the second half as well, talk about some of those guys. We just see over and over again, either if it's a punt, if it's a kickoff return, just such good field position for your offense every single time. And your defense has a lot to do with that as well. Talk about how big that is, just having great field position to be in position to score.
Yeah, it's huge. We're right here we're on the 38-yard line. We got 38 yards to score. Whereas if you're starting further back on, 38 yards doesn't really even put you in the end zone, the red zone area if you start on your own 20. And so it's a big deal, field position. We're winning the field position battle right now. That's something that we've got to continue this week into Malvern. as well as the playoffs. The field position matters. And to be honest with you, I'm really interested to see how our offense is going to respond if or when we get in a situation where we do have to drive the whole field. And so I know we were in that situation a couple weeks against Ashdown, but our offense went out the first play of the drive and scored 86-yard play.
Man.
So, but I'm really interested to see if we can, how well we can continue to put, a 8 to 10 play drive together, because that's just something that we've not really had to do.
What are the ways you're kind of preparing for that, either in a 2-minute situation or a driving of a whole field kind of situation? How are you practicing for that? Is that in a game, or is that mostly in practice?
It's in practice. Everything, I'm a true believer that if you can't do it in practice, you're not going to do it in a game.
Right.
It's just, I'm a true believer in that. There's no such thing as game players.
Right.
If you can't do it in practice, you're not going to do it in a game. And so one of the ways that we've been able to do that is just the good on good action in practice, like we've talked about, but kind of making it to where the players are forced to play a certain amount of plays at once. If you need to play 10 to 12 plays in a drive, well, we're going to make sure that you can do that in practice also. And so we've put our kids in different situations to be able to do that. They've responded really well on both sides. It's been really competitive, and so that's something that we have felt like we needed to do. But that's just one way that we've got to be creative. As coaches, we've got to find ways to make sure our kids are prepared and ready for whatever situation they're put in on a Friday night.
Yeah, and that's just a big props to you and your coaching staff.
Well,
so great job, Coach. You got to give Genoa Central a little bit of credit playing 11-man football kind of for the first time.
Absolutely.
They came out and they didn't stop fighting.
They never
scored a
did.
touchdown there at the end. So they didn't stop fighting. Got to give them some credit. They
Absolutely, and what they've been through. I credit those kids for coming back and playing 11-man. Credit those kids for just fighting through the whole season. I mean, like we said, they did not quit at all over the course of the night. And, it'd be easy to do that, but those kids fought hard all the way through, and that's from a coaching standpoint, that's all you can ask for. I'm sure they want the result to be better over there, but but man, all you can do is attack it head on and play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and then give great effort all the way through, and that's what they did. So I give them a lot of credit and commend them on how they've played the season, really.
Yeah. Well, looking at the Arkadelphia and Genoa Central game still, let's look at the players of the week for this week. Let's start with the offensive player of the week with Jay Purifoy, Coach.
Yeah, Jay Purifoy, our offensive player of the week. It's multiple weeks that he's been able to be that for us. He's had a really good, second half of the conference stretch. Just been very explosive for us. He takes something small and makes it a big play, and it just shows how athletic he is and just the type of player that he is.
Yeah, Jay has had an amazing year all year, had a great game this past game. So great job, Jay. Let's go ahead and go to the defensive player of the week. Let's talk about X.
Yeah, our defensive player of the week, junior defensive end, Xavier Williams. Led us in tackles, had multiple tackles for a loss, had multiple sacks. Just very disruptive from the defensive side of the ball. He's tough to block in the run game. He's almost impossible to read if you decide to go away from him and read him, just because of how athletic he is. I mean, he can touch the top of the daggum square of the backboard on a basketball goal. He's athletic, and so we're really excited about him, and he's playing really well right now.
He's playing very, very well. Just being able to be so athletic on that defensive end side. I mean, you're watching your offensive tackle, your tight end, you're reading different things. So, and he just reacts super quick.
He's fast twitch at the defensive end
very
spot.
Fast. And on kickoff, he's one of the first
He's
guys
one of the first ones down the field. He
every
runs like a
single
deer.
time. That's kind of something I mentioned on the live stream. So that was really cool to watch. Let's go to the special teams player of the week. Let's talk about Colton.
Yeah, special teams player of the week, Colton Plyler. Just one of those guys that's been progressively getting better over the course of the season. He plays he's one of those guys that come in at safety, and then he's part of our special teams unit with the headhunters and different units. But I thought he was one of the main contributors this week in our special teams, and he's progressively gotten better over the course of the season. It's really good where he's at and the confidence that he's built through it.
That's great. Let's talk about the Badger Spirit Award winner.
Our Badger Spirit Award winner is LJ Faulkner. He's a senior linebacker for us. he's one of those guys that kind of roll in. But man, he's had a positive attitude the entire season. He helps us out with our scout team, gives us great looks on both sides of the ball. Just whatever it takes to make our team better and play his role, he's willing to do. And so that's why he's our Badger Spirit Award winner this week.
I love it. I love it. So Genoa Central, Arkadelphia, big win for Arkadelphia. But I want to go ahead and let's look at a player interview from this past week. Millie Babb got to sit down with number 56, Nykeeson Wimberly. So let's head to Arkadelphia High School and hear this interview.
Hi guys, sorry for a few-week break. We've been kind of busy over here at the high school, but today I'm here with Nykeeson Wimberly, a senior for the Badgers. Nykeeson, how long have you been playing football and what do you like most about it?
I've been playing football since second grade. I started off playing flag. And what I like most about football, I just like the intenseness of the game, and then I just like, it's just fun coming down and hitting people and not having to get in trouble for it, so, yeah.
Nick, what is your favorite thing about Friday nights at Badger Stadium?
I would have to say just walking out of the tunnel and just seeing all the fans, all the kids trying to give us high fives and stuff, that kind of stuff just makes you want to go hard, and it makes you want to get a W for the city because everyone comes out and supports us. I love the love that people give us before the pregame meals. We have a lot of sponsors, great sponsors, and they're always willing to just help us any way they can. So I would definitely have to say just walking out of the tunnel with my guys and seeing all the fans.
Nick, what have you done to help the team achieve its goals that y'all set this year?
I've always said since the summer, I've said one game at a time, one practice at a time, one weight lift at a time. I've had that stuck in my head since the end of last year, actually, because I knew this was going to be my last and final rodeo, not only with my classmates but with the Arkadelphia Badgers. And just telling my teammates that every game, I really feel like it has helped us, grow as a team. So just being that vocal person and getting in their ear, like, hey, we can really do this, and just basically letting them know like it's not impossible to achieve. We could do this if we keep our heads down and work.
All right, Nick, it's time for our pop quiz. I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you have to answer it as soon as you think of it. You ready?
That's a bet.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is gold.
Your favorite NFL team?
49ers.
Your go-to Sonic order?
I'll just say a corn dog.
What is your pregame ritual?
My pregame ritual is just, sitting in my locker, listening to music, and just, getting time to myself and gather myself before the game.
And Nick, what is something you do outside of the sports you play?
I like to hang out with friends. I like to go to the field a lot. The field is kind of my quiet place, so I sit there and, like I said, life is hard. So, I go to the field to get peace, and that's my happy place.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week for the first round of Badger football playoffs.
All right, we appreciate you, Millie, and Nykeeson. Great job on the interview. I kind of felt the same way whenever I was in high school, just going to the field. It really is a happy place. So It's cool to see that you can be dominant on the field, but also just go there for a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah,
as well. So
I think it's great that he feels that way about the field also.
Yeah,
it's just a peaceful spot that he can find solace in. It's been really good to see those seniors having those interviews, plugged into the show. Just because we talk about them on the highlights and all that, but that kind of gives a different dynamic to kind of see who they are and who we know them as. So it's really cool to be able to add that in.
And it kind of gets me to kind of know them as well, being their commentator on Friday nights. And I know Nykeeson from different ways, but it's just really cool to see all the different seniors just who they really are, and just not on the field, but they're real people as well.
That's right.
It's awesome. I love it. Great job, Millie. Let's go ahead and look at the results from this past week. As we look at the results from this past week, November 1st, Arkadelphia 56, Genoa Central 6, just like we've been talking about all day. Malvern in Nashville, 26-18. Haskell Harmony Grove 27, Fountain Lake 22, Ashdown 51, and Bauxite 14. Let's look at the 4A7 standings as they are for week 10 of football. You got Arkadelphia and Malvern kind of tied for first at Tier 1. I kind of like saying Tier 1. I'm just going to put it in there.
I like Tier 1 better.
Tier 1 kind of sitting around there, tied for first. Arkadelphia and Malvern both sitting at 6-0 in conference. Number 3, Nashville. Number 4, Ashdown. And number 5, Bauxite and Haskell Harmony Grove are kind of tied for 5th. Number 7 and 8, Fountain Lake, Genoa Central down there. You see that little line below Bauxite. I kind of want to mention this. This is the line. Everyone above will be, if you're above that line, you're going to have a spot in the playoffs, as the 4A conference kind of takes, the 4A classification kind of takes 5 teams from the 4A7, the 4A 1, 2, 3, all the different numbers.
All the different all the different conferences.
All the different conferences.
And everything shakes out this week. You know, Bauxite and Haskell have a big showdown.
That's right.
So winner of that one gets to go to the playoffs.
That's right. That'll be a good one. And also, this week is the conference championship, but we're not there yet. I'm a little excited about that. Let's look at this week in the 4A7. Bauxite will be at Haskell Harmony Grove this Friday. Arkadelphia at Malvern, we'll get there in a second. And Fountain Lake at Ashdown, and Nashville at Genoa Central. Coach, let's talk about the Arkadelphia and Malvern game. This is one that we've kind of circled on our calendar, not looking too far ahead, but it's one that's been there for a little bit, at least for me.
It's been looming.
So it's, as for me, for a fan, I've been pretty excited for this game. So this is a huge game, obviously historic game, as well as they're just not too far down the road. It's the Washita River Rumble, the ASU Three Rivers. You're playing for a big old belt, and I heard that y'all have had it the past couple years, Coach.
We've been fortunate. We've had it the past couple years in Nashville, or not Nashville, Malvern. You know, they've had really good teams just like they do this year. But we've been fortunate enough to come out on top the past few years, and we've got the belt right now.
That's right. Well, Coach, let's talk about Malvern. Kind of learning from Genoa Central, what are y'all kind of getting ready as you are about to play potentially for a number 1 seed in the playoffs and this conference championship?
Well, there's more to prep for. Just from weeks past, there's more things that we've got to get ready for. You know, we're attacking the week the same way. We want to keep things consistent. We feel like that's going to be the best way to keep our kids consistent. But there's not going to be a lot of, there's not going to have to be a lot of rah-rah to get our kids ready to play for this one. You know, both sides, anytime that Arkadelphia and Malvern get together and play, it really doesn't matter what anybody's record is. You know, it's a big game. We could both have not won a game all season, but this one's going to be a really tough one. So fortunately, we're both in a really good spot. We're fighting for a number 1 seed in the conference championship, and on top of the winner of the belt and the rivalry that it is. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but we've got to be really prepared. It's going to be a big environment. We have to be we're on the road, and so we've got to go into their house and their environment and go figure out a way to win it.
That's right. I got to play against Malvern. I got to play against Arkadelphia years in between. But 2 very, very solid programs of football and just the kids on the team, athletics, and the coaches as well. So should be a great game for the conference championship.
Yeah, it
will
will
be.
A lot of fun. It has been the past few years, and this year is going to be no different. So,
that's right.
They're undefeated, and both teams haven't lost a conference game, and it'll be a big showdown. It'll be fun.
That's right. Well, come out this week, Arkadelphia at Malvern. It's not too far down the road, so come on out. The kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. If you can't come to the game, you can watch the broadcast at ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com. And, Coach, go win that belt back, okay?
Hey, we're going to do our best. That's the plan.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Go Badgers.
Go Badgers.
Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Wingfield Properties, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Trinity Temple Assembly of God, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone CPA, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Group, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Ludwig's Bakery, the law offices of Gina White, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Scott Bird DDS, Sexton Law Firm, Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Chicken Express, Pediatrics Plus, and Providence Veterinary Care. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Rogers Department of Communications at Washita Baptist University and the Washita Sports Digital Network.